Hi everyone, this is Dungo here from Rocky Valley server. In this video, I'm going to talk about the major update on September 5th. This is a very significant update. We will have a lot of changes for Apex Arena, and we will have two very important new characters. So the first major update I want to talk about the changes for Apex Arena. So firstly, we will have two new maps available, which is the Eye of Desert and Floating Courtyard. In both of the maps, flares will be very helpful in these two maps, because, for example, for the desert map, the cavalry units will have trouble. You don't want to use Leon here because his mobility is terrible on desert, and if you are using Leon hard, you don't want to use his his cavalry troop. Instead, you actually want to use just like his infantry troop or lancer troop in this case. And on the other hand, this floating courtyard, you will have a lot of space that is only accessible to flyers. So if you are using flying units like Basil or Rachel or Shelfonion with Sky Archer, you will have great advantage in this map. So this is the very first update, very interesting two maps. I'm getting very excited to play on these two maps. And now we have the battle report function. This is also very important because we talked about this a lot of times. After the Apex Arena battle, we always want to go back and see where things went wrong. Now this function has been added, so you don't have to record videos by yourself in order to know where things went wrong. The other thing is that they are scheduling to change the Apex schedule. And I know that lots of players are getting panic, and they are angry that Sunday has been totally removed from the schedule. So yeah, but let's look at the good thing first. So they are now instead of having 11 hours for the Apex Arena, now they are like having actually 3 different time slots for players. So I bet the first time slot is mostly for Asian players, the second is for European players, the third is for North American players. So I actually like the way how they changed the schedule so that players from all over the world can play Apex Arena to make it a real global server. But I really don't like that they remove Sunday as well. So as a strategy squad member, with others like strategy squad member like Bakuya or Nature, we will try to push hard on them to make sure that we will also have Sunday available for Apex Arena. So just don't be like super panic now. We will see what happens, and we will try our best to make sure we will get back our Sunday schedule. And the other important update that I'm going to talk about is actually the two new characters. And these actually 3 new characters, one SR unit and one SSR unit. So I will just briefly introduce the SSR characters here because they are more relevant for the Apex Arena. So the first SSR character is Gizlov, and he's actually very strong character, and he actually introduced a new faction. I don't know how they are going to translate this new faction, but this faction is very strong. So he can call. So this Gizlov can call faction buff for Basil, for Jajular, and also for Bernhardt, and for Lapmenta, and also for Jessica and Sophia, and some other strong characters, maybe like I forgot. But overall, this is a very strong faction, and Gizlov himself is also very strong. He's not strong in a way that he can deal tons of damage, but he's strong in a way that he can summon units and help you control the turns. Now, this will be changed in Season 2, although Gizlov is still available. He's still okay in Season 2 because the units that he summoned actually can hit very hard. So this is not like the bomb that Lifney summoned, or like a skeleton archer, or a skeleton that Basil or Lana summoned. The unit that Gizlov summoned will hit very hard, and it can be used, still as the summoned unit, so that you can still use it to do the turn control. So he's very strong unit and very relevant for Season 1. So yeah, so if you ask me the suggestions, so my suggestions is to actually that if you want to be successful in season 1, you should summon him, and he is the unit that can be used at lower star. You don't have to summon 6-star Gizlov to use him. Basically just pull like 3-star Gizlov and farm him to like 4-star, and you will be fine. He's already very strong and powerful at 4-star. His main function is to call faction buff for other characters and to summon units. Basically these two functions. And the other SSR hero is Wheeler. So Wheeler is actually a healer, but he's a little bit weird. He is a healer without a heal skill. So that means Wheeler will not get this one cost heal skill. So he is not a true healer, but his ability is very unique that he can teleport your all of your units together. So I'm going to have a separate video about how to use Vader in APX Arena, but he's a very strong and interesting unit to use. Normally, I will not use Vader like for the regular season, but in a playoff, Vader can be a character that can just that can make your enemy cannot predict what you are going to move. So he's like very strong for the playoff season. And the SR character, Serena, so she is the tank for Legend faction. So if you are like, if you just started this game and you are trying to build your Legend team and you have no land use to use, but you have pulled like Sigma to call faction buff, then this SR character is a very good fit for your team, mainly for PvE purpose. Yeah, and the other update I want to talk about. Yes, there is the other update I want to talk about. There are a bunch of things that they fixed. So they fixed the star earring. We know that star earring is a very strong accessory for your mages to counter assassins like Deerheart or like Zareda. Now that you will gain extra 10% defense from star earring. So it means that if you wear star earring and if you have land use around your mage will likely be survived from attack from Deerheart or Zareda. So this is actually a very relevant update for PvP. The other thing is about they fixed the description for Leon's faction buff. So actually, it is really not a fix, but just a fix of description. Because what it really suggests here is that now the description for Leon's faction buff changed to like for every one block moved before attacking, damage dealt is increased by 5%. So this description suggests his faction buff will actually work on AoE attack. So let's just suggest that if you are using Leonhard and if you're using Leon to call faction buff for Leonhard, and if your Leonhard moves 3 spells before attacking, his AoE damage will actually increase by 15%. So just keep in mind that this is a very strong faction buff for Leonhard. So the last part I want to cover is about the special gear for Ritual and Emmerich. So both gear are actually pretty useful. The special gear for Emmerich is actually very strong. It allows Emmerich to apply one debuff to random enemy within like 2 spells of Emmerich. So this is synthesized very well with Emmerich's talent. And the special armor for Ritual is that she will deal a fixed damage when under melee attack. So before like melee attack, she will deal a fixed damage to enemy. So this increased her survivability under melee attack. So this is actually a pretty decent armor. I mean, it is definitely not a top tier armor, but still a good armor to use. Because in some cases you do want to hope your ritual can survive one like melee attack. And ritual has decent defense and health point, so she can indeed survive some of the melee attack. And that's basically all I want to cover in this video. In my next video, I'm going to cover a little bit about how to use Zareda in APX Arena, and then I will talk about Kiselov and Wheeler. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you next time.